Fade in. Our heroes, Old Bell and Leek Skywader, pause upon the bluff above the city.
Look there, lad. Moist Isley Deep Port. You will never find a more wretched ant-hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious.
Well, why are we going there then? I can get us to almost anywhere on my algae speeder.
You wouldn't get too far, lad. These waters are swarming with spar sharks and octonauts. We must find safe passage. Come, to the Aqua Cantina.
What a fun name. Later, Leek walking into the cantina.
Oi, we don't serve their kind here.
What?
You're fishoids. They'll have to wait outside. We don't want them here.
Leek pats Plopio upon the shoulder. Listen, why don't you go wait out by the algae speeder? We don't want any trouble.
I moistly agree with you, sir.
Leek quietly sips his drink, looking over the crowd for a more sympathetic ear or whatever. A large ant gives Leek a rough shove. The ant is obviously drunk. Leek tries to ignore the creature and turns back to his drink. A short, grubby human joins the scene.
It doesn't like you.
I'm sorry.
I don't like you either.
Well, you don't even know me. I just walked into this aqua cantina. You really shouldn't judge people on their appearances alone. The ant is getting agitated and yells out some unintelligible gibberish at the now rather nervous young adventurer.
Don't insult us. You just watch yourself. We're wanted men. I have the drown sentence on 12 planetoids.
Well, that's a lot more planetoids than I've seen. I'll be careful then.
You'll be dead.
The ant lets out a loud grunt, and everything at the bar moves away. Leek tries to remain cool, but it isn't easy. His adversaries ready their weapons. Old Bell moves in behind Leek Skywader.
This little one isn't worth the effort. Come, let me buy you something.
A powerful blow from the unpleasant creature sends the young would-be marinaut sailing across the room, crashing through tables and breaking a large jug filled with a foul-looking liquid. With a blood-curdling shriek, the monster draws a wicked chrome harpoon gun from his belt and levels it at Old Bell. The bartender panics.
No harpoons! No harpoons!
With astounding agility, Old Bell's copyright-free electric cutlass sparks to life, and in a flash, an arm lies upon the floor. The insect is cut down. Bell carefully and precisely turns off his copyright-free electric cutlass and replaces it on his utility belt. Leek, shaking and totally amazed at the old man's abilities, attempts to stand. The entire fight has lasted only a matter of seconds. Wow, Old Bell! Did you learn that fighting alongside my father during the mid to late That Warrior conflicts? After a pause, Bell speaks.
Your father was a great man. Come, there's someone I want you to meet.
Fade out.
Jesus loves bad guys. The Joker, no farts.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah,
Or
no,
not in the same boat.
Yeah.
I'm in the same ocean, trying to get into the same boat.
We're drowning in a way.
Yes, which is a nice segue into our podcast.
A wonderful segue.
Or a Segway.
They should make segways, but for the ocean.
Yeah, and call them Segways.
That's a jet ski.
That is just a jet ski, isn't it?
Just a rebrand jet skis.
Sort of like more upright or something, and you look very silly. But then again, that's sort of the point of being on a Segway, isn't it? That you look silly.
I kind of really, really want to go on a Segway. I think I've never been on a Segway. I have been on one of those, you know, those smart, are they smart? I think they're smart boards that only have like the two wheels. And you have to lean forward, and it's like way less safe than a Segway. I think I didn't feel safe.
I do not want to do those. I'll be straight with you. I need something to hold on to. It's
yeah, man. Yeah. I love a bit of something to hold on to, if you know what I mean.
No. Shall we get into it?
Yeah, we should get into it.
Right.
So this is episode 2 of our world building podcast. And I think we have a little more to talk about in our first section today. I think I want to talk a little bit more about it.
Because we've changed the format up a little bit. And we did the longer intro, so we were going to have more conflict. That was the idea, and indeed we did end up having some.
We did have more conflict. Do I have to say it? Do I have to say the word?
Oh yeah, sure. Why not?
Ready, set, and go.
Ready, set, and go. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ready, setting, go.
Okay, ready, setting, go. Okay, well, let's talk about episode 1 and what happened in episode 1, because I think we both introduced some interesting ideas.
Yes. You went first, and through 2 of your sections, I was like holding onto a smile because I was like, oh my God, I have a bit on this.
Yeah,
and I'm wondering how much that's going to continue through the course of this year.
I do. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I was sort of second guessing myself with this episode, actually, and thinking, now, what would Aaron include? Now, what shouldn't I include? And trying to sort of get into your head. But then I realized, you know what, it's pointless, actually, because it's quite possible that we're on the same wavelength, or it's quite possible that we've gone in completely different directions. So
yeah.
I did end up redoing a lot of it. But yeah, last episode was interesting. I left that episode at first quite happy, but then as I was thinking about it in retrospect, the very next day, I became increasingly unhappy with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't because of our initial contributions or anything, but it was more about the clarity of our World War words.
Yeah.
So I sort of, over the next week, I kind of like obsessively was thinking about, should we redo that section to make it sound better, feel better for the listener?
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, yeah, you know what? Fuck those guys, because, I mean, there's not enough of them. So really, then I thought, well, no, this is part of the process that we're trying to showcase here, that I think probably we should have talked a little bit more in episode 1, but that's okay. You know, that's part of the process, the creative process.
It's getting things wrong.
It's getting things wrong. And then I sort of rewrote that entire section. Do you think it's more coherent?
Yes, I do. I kind of want to have a play with it as well, but then
brilliant.
I stopped myself because I'm sort of, in real terms, this is being recorded in 2025. I'm still working on the PDF for the first season, and there's a bit of rewording and rejigging and, you know, bringing sort of some of the first ideas back more in line with the last ideas. So I figured stuff it, leave it as alone until we get to the end of the year, and then it can get a polish, because no doubt we're going to add a lot more and finesse these ideas.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that I did was I did eventually remove that distinction between Leviathans and Titans, because I think it's just it confuses things too much, especially if we want to have a really wide variety of these things.
Yeah.
Then we can just call them all Leviathans. Because
then you're sort of implying, since we've got Leviathans and Titans, now we're adding more. Are we going to have distinct names for each of them? And for God's sakes, the English language only has so many words for really big in it.
Gargantuans, behemoths,
really biggins.
Yeah, I was about to say biggins.
No, it's really biggins. It's all one word. Really biggins.
Really biggins, yeah. And I think that ended up working. But yeah, as you said, I think I look at what we're doing as kind of a living document. So if you get some ideas to like tweak that setup somewhat as well in the future, or if I get ideas, I think we can talk about it as well. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's basically where I'm at about that. I am actually pretty happy about episode 1. Now that I think about it, I've edited most of it. It sounds all right, but no, I think it's good. I think we've set up an interesting world, and I'm ready to fill it with things.
Since at the moment it's just got water in it for the most part.
It's mainly got water and rocks.
Yeah, water, rocks, and the occasional Leviathan. All right. Okay. Well, I believe it's my turn to go first, so let's get into Fable Fodder.
Fable fodder. We're going to fodder some fables.
It's true, we are. Fable Fodder. My first section here is almost certainly too long and probably very boring, but it's also kind of necessary, I feel, so we're rocking on.
Okay, well, I am going to turn my mic off, so you're not going to hear me snoring, but our cameras are on, so we can see each other. So I'm going to put on those Homer Simpson glasses that have like the eyes on the front of them. I know you don't understand The Simpsons or any of those references, which is great. But everyone else, remember the Homer Simpson glasses where he's like pretending, like he's asleep, but he's pretending to pay attention? That's what I'm doing right now.
He is. The Vessels of the Celestial Deep. Though tens of millions of people live and die within the Warrenbergs, Civities, and Metro Terrors beneath the surface of many planets within the celestial deep, without ever gazing into those fathomless depths, it is just as true that modern society is entirely dependent on deep water operations. Sufficient food, minerals, and trade are all dependent on the marinauts that brave the brine and the vessels that they crew. So first I'm going to talk about some civilian vessels. The most ubiquitous vessels in the deep are the swarms of small craft that ferry agricultural workers, their produce, and of course life-giving air to and from the farms. These vessels tend to be 8 to 12 meters long and wide in a manta-like shape and consist of little more than a simple engine and prop, plenty of air to top up the dozen workers' tanks, and seating for them. Some rudimentary ones even lack the latter, simply including points in the hull for people to secure themselves to. On the core worlds, where proximity to the luminescent void allows deep life to flourish, tens of thousands of vessels like this can swarm around the surface of a planet, tending to algae and kelp farms, fish and crustacean ranches, or pod orchards. Fishing boats are swift 1 to 2 person craft with a harpoon mounted on the prow or turret, and tackle the larger undomesticated beasts of the deep, tiger sharks, various cephalopods, god cod, razor salmon, and lumen fish. Several might even work together to hunt a mammoth crab. Since travelling the circuitous tunnel roads between the various polities can take a very long time, even by rail, there are passenger ships that will travel swiftly and in a much straighter line through the deep. These range wildly in size and comfort, from cheap, short-range repurposed farming ships to large luxury craft with cabins, restaurants, and personal service. It is not uncommon for independent captains of deep-water vessels to offer this kind of service for a time while they await for sufficient slur brine to become available, or just so that they can afford it. Of the larger vessels in the deep, freighters are the most common, and the first I've described here to potentially have a slur brine ignition drive. While there are some intra-world freighting going on in the deep, few ships that do this work are dedicated to it. Either some is carried alongside passengers, or it is carried out once again by independent captains in a similar slur brine awaiting capacity. Many of them are captains of SID-equipped vessels. Freighters tend to be utilitarian, long cylinders that tend towards being on the larger end of the spectrum with a relatively little crew. The only limiter on their size is that the smaller ports may not have a brine lock large enough for them. This has been addressed in some modern freighters having cargo holds that are detachable and can be maneuvered into a brine lock by teamsters or small tugboats, one-man vessels with magnetic clamps and oversized engines. Though they travel far from the security of each world, most freighters have few defenses, facing the dangerous creatures of the deep and the viciousness of pirates with little more than razor fins and a brave crew. Now to some of the funner stuff, the military vessels.
Oh, that's very nice.
When people think of the image of the dashing marinaut, they are either the captain of a vessel or the pilot of one of the small fighting craft that speed through the water and face their foes at frighteningly close range. They are divided into 3 classes based on their primary weapons and style of battle: razors, cutters, and spitters. Razors are among the smallest vessels of any kind at around 5 meters long and are piloted only by the insane, the desperate, and those that are both, as they are little more than an engine, a cockpit, and reinforced bladed edges designed to slice open their foes. Whilst it is of limited utility against the hardened hulls of larger vessels, razor-class craft are quite capable of damaging other similar-sized boats, but are mostly utilized against the dangerous wildlife of the deep: pterodons, rusty dartfish, mega narwhals, and spar sharks, to name just a few. Cutters are twice the size, although still small, and typically armed with spear launchers, minnow guns, or mines, as well as a few bladed extremities. With a pilot and a gunner, these versatile warcraft are the workhorse of many a society's navy. Spitters are similarly designed to cutters, but carry only a torpedo or two, and engage only large, hard targets at range. Most of the larger core worlds make use of a patrol craft, a mid-sized boat around 20 meters long that operates as much as an observation and rescue craft, far more often than it does battle. Military ships with SIDs, and are thus able to use slur brine, are among the most complicated and valuable pieces of equipment anywhere, frequently recovered, refurbished, and refitted with modern equipment to keep them in service. While the core worlds have facilities to make many ships of a particular design, elsewhere each ship is a bespoke and unique construction. So any classification of them beyond the broadest possible would be far too granular and thus unhelpful. The hunter designation is given to vessels roughly 100 to 150 meters long that carry crews of around 100 souls. Torpedoes are their primary weapon of choice, though each carries a small variety of shorter range weapons. They are built for speed and striking power. Aggressive tactics are their forte. Seekers are a little smaller, around 80 meters with a crew half the size of those of a hunter, and are built to run quietly and slowly, allowing their superior variety of sensors to find a foe before it finds them and destroys them with torpedoes that often share their stealthy adaptations. Cruisers are the largest vessels beside the magnificent bulks of the state ship, a couple of 100 meters long and bulky besides. They carry entire schools of razors, cutters, and spitters, entire companies of soldiers, and an array of every kind of weapon. Crews can be as many as 400 to 500 when pilots and soldiers are counted.
Okay.
Boring.
No, that wasn't boring at all. I was... No. This one, I was on the edge of my seat for a couple reasons. One, I'm very interested in this because you've just made our empty, watery setting full of cool stuff that I like. And number two, I too had a part about ships, but now I'm actually thinking during our World War words to simply rework it into a bit of an addition on top of what you put in, because I think it's going to work quite well. Yeah, I'm pretty...
Awesome.
This is very cool. Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm liking this a lot. It's interesting to me. I hope it's interesting to the listeners.
So do I. I put a little bit of personal stuff in here. My father actually worked for the Submarine Corps of Australia, like designing and building the Collins class submarines. So part of sort of like submarine building and structure has been part of my life since I was just a wee lad.
I mean, see, that's really interesting. All that kind of stuff. Like, I like reading about it. I don't understand a lot of like nautical terminology and a lot of nautical things, because I think I have sort of an idea of like ships from the age of sail. I think I understand those pretty well. I think I've read quite a few books with ships like that, but like modern things and like submarines is like, how do they work? Is it magnets? Is it magnets, Aaron?
Yes, mostly, actually.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
What you got for me?
Aaron, which part should I'm going to present a section I like to call Abysmal Antics.
Ooh, all right. Well, I'm going to turn my microphone off and listen intently.
Let me tell you some facts about ants. All ants have human-level intellect. All ants seek great violence. All ants can understand one another. Every ant species loathes every other ant species. Most ants have hands and fingers on the end of their limbs. Ants cannot understand the logic of technology. Ants believe the endless ocean of the celestial deep is an unnatural punishment from the practicals, but they cannot speak of it to outsiders. Ants cannot physically see leviathans, and leviathans cannot see ants. Let me tell you about ants. Ants are a big problem in the celestial deep. They're great stone and sometimes flesh colonies orbiting the luminous void on dangerous, eccentric paths. There are countless species of this common insect spread across the worlds of the deep, but the most dangerous is the abysmal anteater ant. Though all ants are kin to dirt and stone, the abysmal anteater ant is perhaps the most symbolic of this strange relationship, being seemingly made of rock, though superficially similar to its numberless cousins, including the mostly innocuous Lasius niger, the common black ant, which is just a normal ant. This creature shows obvious signs of ancient gene tampering by powers unknown. As an adult, it is a dog-sized animal, its head, thorax, and abdomen grey rocky clumps, resembling slate in hardness, colour, and composition. Abysmal anteater ants are difficult to kill without specialised chiselling equipment. The rock-like structure is also the material they coat their homes with, an excretion from their mandible-equipped mouths. This is a problem because they are known to make their parasitic colonies around the complex mechanisms of the SIDs. There is something about the frequencies or byproducts of these engines that attracts them. The abysmal anteater ant is single-minded in its focus to locate and cannibalize other ant species. Once a colony has fully encased the SID in its rough, lithic excretions, the ants retreat deep within the engine and, by way of processes as yet undetermined by scientists, propel the vessel toward foreign formicaries. This is a puzzle, partly because the SID is a propulsion system and not a navigation module. The systems on most ships are not directly connected in any way an ant could intercept or manipulate. This is not a frequent occurrence, as steps to reduce infestations are usually followed quite strictly, but it is a problem the further from the celestial void one travels, where resources to combat abysmal anteater ants are less plentiful. It is known that ants are not a technological species, and furthermore, that they do not understand technology on any but the most surface of levels. Certainly, the abysmal anteater ants have never been forthcoming with reasons for their behavior, and nor have they elaborated on the methods they utilize. Those few who would speak to interrogators claimed the ships were, and I quote, pathway bound and tethered to violence, and that the SIDs required no tampering to know the way home.
All right. I do have a quick question.
Yes.
Do all ants, even the teeny tiny ones, have little hands on the end of their legs?
Yes.
Okay.
Every ant, all ants.
All ants have hands.
I mean, you can push back against that if you don't want the ants to have hands, but I think our listeners, I think I know what they want, and it's ants with hands.
All right. Okay.
I'll tell you a little bit about my reasoning about why I put ants in this setting.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I was thinking, what would be an animal or creature most unlikely to be in this watery thing that's not an eagle?
True. Yes. Good point.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I saw a bunch of ants eating a beetle, and I was like, that would be interesting in a watery setting.
Yes, it would. I wondered if it was just because you wanted to use the phrase foreign formicary. Formicary. Yes, a foreign formicary.
A foreign formicary, yeah.
Where presumably ants fornicate in their foreign formicary.
God, I hope so. That's the kind of fan art I'm looking forward to.
Fan art of fornicating foreign formicaries.
That's why I gave them hands, so they can get busy.
All right. Well, I mean, it's hard to reach any of the bases without those. I've done that thing where I write a section in character. So,
okay, let's hear it.
I'm going to talk to you about elements of Outlier Society. Settle down, my students. Thank you. I hope you all appreciated the honor of being invited to witness such new and revolutionary technology. Very few have had the privilege of seeing a Mercuroid motion record, let alone one documenting the fourth expedition to the Outlier Station, known as the Fortress Diabolique. Many of you may remember its characteristic spiky silhouette of 24 towers of irregular shape and height from the textbook, or at least I hope you do. Perhaps you may recall it better if I mention that it is the image that adorns the perennial popular pulp magazine, The Outlier Limits. Yes, I see it does. What you may not be aware of is that not all outlier stations are alike. Not just in form, but in substance. Not just in substance, but society. Indeed, at least 4 have been catalogued, and a recent discovery shows strong evidence of a 5th. Each station made from one of the substances shows clear evidence of a single matching culture, although indications of at least trade with other outlier societies is common. I want to give you students a brief understanding of the 4 we know best, while the excitement of the Mercuroid is fresh in your young minds. Naturally, I will start with the people who built the Fortress Diabolique and the incredible matte black metal they work with, Sin Steel. I imagine each of you are familiar with the term, but can any of you tell me why it is called this? No? Well, in fact, it was not always called thus. For years after discovery, it had a variety of names which are occasionally still used today. Dark steel, black metal, and malleum were most prevalent, but after the Mad Admiral built a torpedo of the stuff and used it to slay the mutualist Leviathan Malice Without Sin, it has been called Sin Steel, both to honour the fallen Leviathan and acknowledge the terrible deed. The invincibility of Sin Steel is legendary, but not entirely true. After all, a substance that cannot be shaped or manipulated at all is actually not terribly useful. In dry conditions, Sin Steel is merely extraordinarily tough. Experiments, both careful and wildly reckless, have shown it can be damaged in these circumstances. This is different when it is exposed to the salty waters of the deep. There, it truly seems to be invulnerable, though efforts are still being made to discover otherwise. However, when immersed in boiling, purified water, and I do mean purified, not one scintilla of contamination, so pure in fact it cannot even be drunk safely, Sin Steel becomes soft and malleable, which is how we assume its creators work the metal, and a few examples used by people today came to be. However, as it appears to be toxic to leviathans, its use is extremely restricted, if not outlawed entirely. Next is the fantastic substance we call skin stone. Though it ranges in tone far less than real pale skin, being far lighter than my own, generally appearing in a light tan colour. It is recognisable for the blue-black veins that run through it, although always beneath a thin layer of semi-translucent tan stone. Skin stone has two amazing properties. First, when it is exposed to air contaminated with carbon dioxide and other elements toxic to us poor lung havers, it absorbs these substances and purifies the air. The empty structures left to us by the skin stone society have air more fresh and healthful than you can imagine without a single plant, moss patch or puddle of slow brine to be seen. Secondly, as it absorbs these unpleasant materials, it somehow incorporates it into itself and grows. As of yet, we've yet to understand how this occurs, or even more perplexingly, how its creators cause it to grow into the patterns that gave them, and now us, vast stone buildings floating in the darkest regions of the deep, and not simply irregular conglomerations of skinstone. Perhaps one of you will be the one to... Oh dear, there's the bell. I'll have to finish this lesson next time. After all, our little excursion to take a little longer than anticipated, what with Yankin somehow adhering his hair to the theatre chair. It would behoove you all to read ahead.
Bloody Jenkins. Can't believe it. Why would he do that?
Well, you know, kids.
That's really good, man. Yeah. And like the name, I love the name. Cool. Absolutely love the name.
I wanted to come up with something that was evocative without being derivative.
Yeah, no, I think it is very evocative. Sin Steel, that sounds so awesome. I mean, I immediately want a katana made out of it.
It's a katana that's apparently toxic to leviathans. I don't know how much, like a single it'd be like, I'm toxic to a lot of things, but if something the equivalent side of a splinter hit me with it, I'm not sure it would actually do anything.
Yeah, maybe not. Well, this is interesting because I guess this pushes more that idea that we sort of established in the first episode, that I guess a lot of the Leviathans are mortal and killable, rather than that sort of initial image that I started off with. And then when our ideas sort of came together, that there is such a spectrum of these creatures. Yeah, I think that works really well.
I do like the idea that, like, the death of the Leviathan is not a common thing.
Yeah.
Like, it is in fact wildly uncommon. Within, like, recorded history, you can, count the actual deaths of Leviathans on one hand. And the idea that a mortal has done it, I kind of like the idea personally that the Mad Admiral is the only one who's ever done it.
But what terrible price did he pay?
It definitely has to be awful.
It has to be awful, yeah. No, that's really good, man. I love that. Yep. That's good. I have some ideas in my thinking head thing.
And I wanted to leave plenty of space for you to come up with different substances and societies. So I deliberately restrained myself. Good.
Restrain yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, are we ready for the next part? It's not a terribly long part. This one is just a short little bit called Pirates of the Lightless Duchies.
Ooh.
It's about pirates.
I thought it might be.
Pirates of the Lightless Duchies. By far the largest economic drain on the worlds of the Celestial Deep, and particularly the Outer Treaty worlds, is unsanctioned commercial activity, otherwise known as piracy. Pirates are thieves, kidnappers, cutthroats, monsters, exiles, ideologists, and future nation builders, but when all is said and done, they are businessmen. Whether their business is terror or plunder, in the end, they are out in those dark waters for one reason: profit. It is why many pirates possess the patronage of various organizations, both legitimizing their extra-legal activities somewhat, as well as directing them away from said organizations. But what do pirates want? Mostly to ply the deep another day. Running a ship is difficult and expensive, and although many of them look forward to retiring on some pleasure satellite in the future, most are less certain where their next meal is coming from. The 3 C's of piracy are credits, cargo, and chattel, slavery that is, as these are the resources of most value in the Celestial Deep. Credits are useful year-round, cargo is good leverage or fodder for the black market, and slaves are the invisible engines without which the monumental megastructures and economies of the modern age could not function. As big a problem as pirates remain in the Corward Pact, they are an everyday nuisance for the worlds of the Outer Treaty. Many are based in the ungovernable reaches of the Lightless Duchies, far from the dimming luminous void. There, the vicious and ever-shifting Parliament of Pirates attempts to bring order to the chaotic fraternity of these criminals, ruling from the depths of Morana's Blessing, an ancient and defunct outlier station. The Parliament is forever on the verge of becoming a formidable force in the deep, set back only by constant and unending assassinations and betrayals.
epic.
Yeah, did you like that?
I really did, especially the Parliament of Pirates. And hey, look, more Outlier Stations. And
Yeah, this is great because so far not too much crossover.
no,
Let's go.
And indeed, I'm out of topics.
Oh, are you?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
oh my God.
The vessels one was quite long, so
Okay. Well, I do have one more. It's sort of about the length of the pirates of the Lightless Duchies, and it is actually a person.
he's not a mad admiral, is he? Because that'd just be too weird.
Not a mad admiral, and
Okay.
not a he. It's a she. That's
Awesome.
right. Women can be in a TTRPG setting. I'm allowing it.
Yeah.
You're welcome, ladies. Okay, Aaron. Let me tell you about an individual known as Opal Jing. Opal Jing is not a pirate, she will tell you. Nor is she a brigand or a reaver. She is certainly not an adventurer, and if you call her one, you're likely to get your nose cut off. Opal Jing prefers to see herself as someone who makes her own luck in the world, and considers it an unfortunate reality that a lot of luck rests at the pointy end of a bayonet. Whatever she is, she can be friend or foe to those who ply the waters of the outer treaty worlds. She is one of the few who has firmly rejected the treaty, branding it a post-imperialist power grab, and those who submit to it feckless cowards at best, vicious traitors most likely. This is an odd stance for her to take, as no one is sure which particular treaty world she hails from. She was once a high-ranking member of the Adamant Anteaters, a company tasked with protecting distant worlds from ant attacks. In a convoluted series of events, the outfit became involved in the famous 30-hour war between the Berylline worlds and the independent Beryl Moon Alliance. After the cessation of hostilities, which had left the Moon Alliance dead and drowned, Opal became the leader of the company and retreated to the frontier with her remaining cohort. Things progressed rapidly from there. Opal Jing, under the title of Regional Administrator, now controls an area of the deep close to the Lightless Duchies, known as the Feeble Frontier, named after Sir Sandra Feeble, a small flotilla of freelancing mercenary vessels, the funky Feebler Tavern Asteroid, and the glorious Hull Frontier Casino. Nevertheless, she is most often away from her small kingdom, pushing further into the dim reaches of the deep. She purports to hold a great concern for the future of the celestial deep, and hopes the legends of unimaginable alien technologies from long-dead cultures will hold the key to civilization's survival as the luminous void sputters and fails over time. The pirates of the Lightless Duchies never bother her, nor do they try to expand into her territories. Rumours abound as to the cause of this oddly respectful approach, but neither the pirates nor Opal are forthcoming with explanations.
See previous comment, nose cutting face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
Yeah, that is my final contribution to this episode 2.
Yeah. All right. Were you inspired by that famous Chinese pirate captain lady?
No. Yeah, I mean,
Was it Chinese
I
or
suppose.
Japanese? Oh, blimey, now I've forgotten.
I suppose in a way. There are so many interesting pirates.
Yeah, and she actually retired successfully.
She successfully retired.
Yeah, Chinese. I was right first time.
Yeah, she was Chinese. Yeah. No, I was just thinking about what's a cool pirate thing to do. But
Yeah.
I suppose unconsciously, yeah. You know, I mean, I think we're steeped for a large period of our lives. I think we're all steeped in pirate lore to some extent. Assassin's Creed Black Flag. What a good game. Have you ever played it?
No, I haven't played any of the Assassin's Creed.
You'd enjoy this one. There's sea
Assassin.
shanties in it.
Oh, well, I'll be honest with you. I think they all look interesting. It's just that they're very much built for console play.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
yeah, you're not a console gamer. You're not related, but you know what I've been replaying recently on PC?
Tetris.
Jazz Jackrabbit.
Jazz Jackrabbit.
Jazz Jackrabbit. Someone mentioned Jazz Jackrabbit, or maybe someone was talking about jazz and I tuned out because it's so boring. So I went on Good Old Games, downloaded Jazz Jackrabbit. Yeah, still a good game. Like, it is a good game. I thought that it might be one of those games because it was very much like a Sonic-like, but with guns. And I thought it might be like, oh, I'm just remembering it being good because I was a kid and that was just new and that was what I had access to. But it's actually pretty good. The level design is as annoying as any early Sonic game.
Yep.
The addition of a gun makes most of the game fairly trivial, but it is like it's fast, it's fun, it's got cool colors. The rabbit is green.
The rabbit is green. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like isn't there a Marvel Green Rabbit character or Star Wars Green Rabbit character. Anyway, we'll find this out later.
I have no memory of such, but honestly, either is entirely plausible.
What color is Jar Jar Binks?
I don't care.
I love him. I think the prequels have been redeemed kind of by comparison to the sequels.
I very much agree that Clone Wars and its various different things has redeemed a great deal of it, none of which is Jar Jar Binks. And I think the sequels, first two, are fantastic, and there are elements of the third that I enjoy, but holy hell, did that just lose out from...
It really kind of like took a run up and then just fell over the edge, didn't it?
They really should have just left Rian Johnson in charge, because he knew what he was doing. Anyway,
welcome to Mythtakes Happen, the Star Wars podcast, where we talk about our favorite Jar Jar Binks moments. Can we choose just one?
No, because I don't have one.
I like when he tries to lick the pod racer and his tongue goes numb.
Mm-hmm.
I think he says, aye, aye, aye.
All right, World War Words.
Jesus loves bad guys. The Joker, no farts. Jesus loves bad guys. I'm going to put that at the start Joker, no farts. Just no context. And also, I refuse to give context right now.
Yep. World War Words.
So have you heard this thing that Funko Pops is, I think, going bankrupt? Can you believe Funko Pops, the world's most popular pop, the world's most popular Funko, is going extinct?
Yes.
The company said our business moving forward is may not be viable, which I think is really interesting that they've been viable for like over a decade of this absolute slop.
Yep.
Like. I know we label a lot of things slop these days, but like Funko Pop's truly slop. I own one Funko Pop exactly, and that is Unit 1 from Evangelion, because it looks actually like Unit 1 from Evangelion, but like chibified, which I think is fine. I think that's the only acceptable Funko Pop to own.
I also have just one.
You have Drizzed?
Yes, I've got Drizzed. That was given to me by my good friend Sean, and given that it's actually a unique sculpt, and actually, crucially, it has Gwen Hwyver.
There might be a couple that are pretty cool, but
I agree.
A lot of them are just like I think a lot of them end up in landfill. I think they're the modern Beanie Baby.
Yep.
And I've actually never seen a Beanie Baby, I guess, secondhand. So I guess someone must be hoarding them. I used to see them. I used to see them in like EB Games and things like that. They used to have Beanie Babies before Funko Pops became Beanie Babies.
I think there is a millennial out there who really did buy into the whole Beanie Babies will become like valuable in the future, and they've just filled their home up with it, and then they died in that home somewhere in like 2011, and one day somebody will go, like, man, we haven't seen Jeff in like 20 years. Let's go see how he's doing.
It's definitely a Jeff.
It's definitely a Jeff. And they'll open that front door, and they'll just out of the house will just come this absolute tide of Beanie Babies and his desiccated beanie corpse.
This reminds me of, have you heard of the game, I think maybe defunct now, I don't know, MetaZoo? Have you seen it?
Oh, I think I've read something about it.
It was like a card game, right? And it had some interesting concepts, and I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. It looks like a card game that was made in the 1990s, but it was just a few years ago. Like the aesthetic was like a bunch of people submitted like not great fan art of cryptids essentially, and that was like the thing. You had like a MetaZoo, and a lot of the stuff had like weird kind of special rules where like the real world affected your gameplay and stuff like that, like when you were playing it and stuff like that, which I thought, you know what, this is interesting. I would like to get in on that. And I went to a store, and the guy was like, oh my god, MetaZoo, this is the best. And I'm like, oh, can you tell me about it? Like, what's the gameplay like? And he was like, these cards, if you buy these cards, they're going to be worth so much soon. And I was like, oh, that's cool, man. But what about like, I'm interested because there's like Mothman in there and like Sasquatches and stuff. I want some of that. And he was like, yeah, it's got all this stuff, but here's what I'm telling you. We've got this many boxes, and if you buy 2 of these boxes, I'll make you a deal on them. And there's like if you go on the Reddit, he said, if you go on the Reddit, and there's a ranking of the cards, and like you're almost guaranteed to get like at least one card that's like $200. And I was like, okay, I just want a pre-constructed deck, please, so that I can. Anyway, I got this pre-constructed deck, and I brought it home, and I took it out, looked at the rules. I was like, this looks playable. This is something that I could play with a friend. And then I looked on the Reddit, and it was just all discussions of how much these cards are worth. That was it. There was no gameplay, no strategy, no nothing. And what I did was I packed it away and I put it in a box, and I never looked at it again. Yeah. And I was just like, this is not going to survive. I don't want to play this. I don't want to have a good experience with this even. I paid like $30 for this deck or whatever. I was like, no.
And then it died.
And then, I mean, it died. I have not seen it in any store. And that's the whole thing. This is like investment in this nonsense. It's like, it's not going to pan out. This is, you need to invest.
The reason why magic pieces of cardboard are worth anything at all is because playing the game is inherently fun. Wildly broken and power creepy to all hell, but it doesn't matter. The game is fun. If people aren't playing your game, then your game bits are going to be worth nothing.
That's the thing. Like I started playing Magic the Gathering again recently with this guy at work, and something I found was that the feeling of playing Magic the Gathering is exactly the same as when we were playing it in high school. The gameplay loop is exactly the same. The feeling is exactly the same. There's like a ton of new rules. There's a couple things that they've like tightened up. And obviously there's like the whole power creep and things. You can talk about that. But fundamentally, it's the same game and it's fun. It's fun. Essentially, what we did is we were playing the Final Fantasy starter pack, which just has 2 60-card decks in it. And it's great. The starter deck costs $30 for these 2 decks. It's like nothing, and it's great. And then I made a bear deck that I went online, and I was just like, what's a bunch of bears that look good together? And I did that, and I played the bear deck, and it's great. It's not a very good deck. But,
I really want to play against that deck because I want to have play against you, and I want you to tap some lands, and I want you to put a bear down, and I'll go, wait, there's a bear in there?
That's funny. I called this one Barely Legal. World War Words.
World War Words, which is not a jousting tournament, but not entirely dissimilar.
Not entirely dissimilar. I really enjoyed this. So far, I've enjoyed this episode. I really liked your contributions to this episode, and I haven't pushed against anything here, but I have added stuff.
I did challenge a couple of points around the edges of your ants.
I think that's fine. Yeah.
Let's
do it.
Do you want to start with the challenge of the ants?
Let's start with
the challenge of the ants.
The challenge of the ants. Well, look, this makes sense because nothing that you wrote, I think, is particularly controversial, right?
No.
It's stuff like if it clashed with something in particular, then I could push against it, but it's all very reasonable. So the only thing that I really worked in there is reclassifying one of your ships as a ship that I already wanted to talk about. So
awesome.
That's pretty much it.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, let's go with my challenge around the ants. Not all ants have human level intelligence.
Hashtag not all ants.
If you want to put a hashtag in front of it, that's fine. I'm not going to argue with that.
That's how people will find it on the web.
Spiders are involved now? Are they intelligent? Do they have hands? I don't want spiders to have hands. That is...
I want them to have flaccid phalluses at the end of their feet.
Okay, makes it less scary, but definitely grosser. Anyway, but that isn't to say that there isn't some intelligence. So here's my thinking.
Okay.
The tiny ant-sized ants, so basically if it's a, size of your finger or smaller, like, traditional earthly ants.
Traditional ants, yeah.
Yes. They are not individually intelligent. Okay. However, their former carries are all computer intelligences, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. Okay. They're kind of like a hive mind, right?
No, specifically not a hive mind.
Not a hive mind.
They're not like each individual ant goes up and makes a
I see what you mean. Yeah,
like
all the parts of it.
Yes. So the structure is intelligent and the ants that move through it, and yes, there's a little bit of Terra Pratchett in there, but I kind of like the sci-fi angle to it, where that, it isn't. And the thing is, they are not naturally occurring. There's definitely the same way we mentioned some gene stuff already.
Gene tampering.
Yes. They didn't evolve this way. Something's definitely happened to them, and I'm going to come back to that in a moment.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Well, we always talk about gene tampering, but we never talk about gene pampering.
And we really should, because our genes deserve to be pampered, just like everything else.
I look at myself in the mirror some mornings and I'm like, these genes should be pampered, but they're not. But
no,
look at these unpampered genes.
they are ragged and burned out genes. I have the same thinking process. I do.
Cool. Okay, sorry. Please.
That's all right. Back to ants. Ants come in 3 broad classifications. The small species are not individually sapient, but they are like living cells of a self-building computer mind, which is their formicary. These constructed minds lack creativity, though they are very patient and dimly emotional. They are the most likely to reach equilibrium with humans, although this inevitably breaks down when humans need to expand because they get emotional about losing a member, or the formicary decides to reproduce and seed a new formicary and gets in the way of humans.
Interesting. You know what I like? Dimly emotional, like a male boomer.
Yeah, the medium-sized species, like your abysmal anteater ants, which are just so scary and awesome, and reminded me a little bit of the first episode with the replicators from Stargate.
Yeah. Oh, I never thought of that. Yeah, cool.
They are individually sapient, they're just not particularly bright. And their formicaries aren't intelligent either, but their formicaries, each species does something weird. So the abysmal anteaters can activate and control SIDs and potentially do other things with their formicaries. And I like the idea that there are these things called bullet ants, and their formicaries use like heat and water to produce pressurized steam that fires their soldiers out of holes at their attackers. Obviously why they're called bullet ants.
Yes. Okay, yeah. I mean, that works for me. Yeah, I'll buy that for $1.
And these are your real threats to humanity. They don't get along. They're bright enough to potentially have a conversation with, but all they just do is tell you weird stuff like, as you said in your own writing, that they, the SID is pathway bound and tethered to violence. They are so otherworldly and not bright enough to empathize. And I would like to introduce roughly human-sized, large species of ant that are fully sapient, intelligent, capable of emotion as any human, definitely playable species.
Can I ask something?
Yes.
The lady ants. Will the lady ants have breasts?
I don't see why they would, given that they don't.
Okay, literally unplayable. Glands. I'm going to push back against that. Actually, I think that I'm using my UN veto for this one. I think they need to.
So you're using your unveto. That doesn't make any sense. You can't unveto something unless you're approving it. Oh, you're approving of my breastless ants. Good.
Breastless ants.
Breastless ants. It's a whole species.
I never thought I'd say that phrase.
I didn't bet to say it this morning either. Now, like all ants, these fully sapient ants still struggle to understand technology. Simple tools like hammers and screwdrivers are terribly clumsy in their ant hands, but they utilize the formicaries of the small ants, which they keep upon their bodies, like their own form of technology. So they might have like carpenter ants that come out and like manipulate and shape things for them at their command. They might have inventing the Langton ant colonies that do like startling feats of mathematics over time. So most of these ants will only ever have like one colony on them, but these I like the idea of these large ant people that have a colony of small ants on them that is their tool/computer that they carry around with them.
Yeah, I love that. And perhaps we could later on think about like pheromones and things like that. That's something that's big in. This reminds me actually of a novel I read. Was it this year? I think Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky, which it had intelligent spiders, but then it also had unintelligent ants that kind of acted in a way which almost mimicked intelligence.
Was that a short story?
No, this is a big book, very good science fiction book that I think you would enjoy. I think you should definitely.
It's ringing really big big bells.
I might have talked about it actually start of the year.
Either that or there's some version of it or around it in one of my collections of short stories that...
Could well be, yeah. He's a very prolific writer.
It also has a little reminder of... I've got a Frank Herbert book. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically about a human hive.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Oh, it's gross. Like they all live packed together and they've evolved to like detect and emit pheromones to each other. So it's essentially a mostly slave species of subhumans. I mean, they're humans, but it's very gross in many, many ways.
I'm always worried when I'm in an elevator that I've released some pheromones out of my butt.
Which is why you have your no farts license plate.
My no farts license plate. Yeah,
she doesn't have, but as a reference to a joke which I wish he hadn't made earlier. So, all right, so that's my addition to ants. Is that we've got our first non-human playable species, and I love them. I think I
love it. I think this
ants.
actually, this makes them a lot better. I think that this really expands them. Yeah. Let's go with that.
What are you doing?
I'm just going to add. This is a little bit lengthy. I feel because I sort of adapted this from a bit that I was actually going to originally talk about this episode, but I think it's sort of I rejigged it, and I think it works with your stuff quite well. But cool. You let me know. It's called. I actually named this section. I named it the Hardly Humble Hadopelus. There is a size limit beyond which the slurbrine ignition drive is unable to propel a ship through the thalassurge, for doing so can lead to temporary pathway collapses and cause significant damage to established travel routes. The practice of pushing big rocks through the thalassurge as an act of terror is thankfully a rare occurrence due in no small part to the difficulty of constructing and maintaining an SID. It is the Hadopelus, which is the largest possible size of vessel able to traverse the celestial void using a slurbrine ignition drive. It is the common technical designation for stateship-sized craft. For military purposes, it is unrivaled. But even as an exploratory vessel, the Hadopelus is the ideal ship type to reliably traverse the unknown. Of course, the expense of maintaining such a craft means that less perfect options are utilized. In most cases, it is the only class of ship equipped with sufficient weapon loadouts and provisions to last long distances away from supply lines and void ports. Furthermore, an innovative aspect of this ship is its modular design. Each Hadopelus is a unique expression of its culture, era, and purpose, in a way that other ships may not be. Vessels the size of the Hadopelus class have certain gravitational requirements when navigating the thalassurge, and by necessity, the ship is constructed around the core SID module. This means that layouts of these vehicles can be wildly different. Many do not even purport to follow the recommended hydrodynamic shapes, as they do not spend a significant amount of time traversing the celestial deep between worlds under conventional propulsion. Against all odds, the first of these colossal vessels, the General Kovlakana, colloquially referred to as the Grandmother or Big Granny, is still in operation. Developed by the Corward Pact, commissioned by the High Imperiad Virata Lengt im Ledanad ig Piracy of Montarum, and constructed in the grim shipyards of Beefer Moon, the General Kovlakana has managed to defy the commonly held wisdom that the lifespan of these ships ranges between 40 and 60 years. It has been in almost constant service for over 2 centuries. A lot of this is down to what a powerful symbol it is for the Pact, as well as its reputation for being the Navy's engineering testing center. Weapons, navigation systems, shielding, as well as countless other innovations are trialed and studied here before being distributed to other vessels. In fact, it is a common myth that no original part of Big Granny remains, and that every few decades she is forged anew as a technicality of this process.
I love it. I do have a tweak, but I love the name, and I love the I love Big Granny. So if I understood what you've written there correctly, that this is the classification of the state ships, so that all state ships are this sort of thing.
I would say maybe most. I don't know. I don't really know. I was playing around with like the different ship types and stuff, but I suppose I don't know enough about them to really make a good.
Well, my only real problem is that in my mind, just the description of state ships, because we haven't done anything with the state ships, but my sort of like preconceived notion was that the state ships were in and of themselves mobile polities, like societies.
Ah, okay.
And if they only exist for like 40 years or so, then that's not a stable thing. I also just mentally, because they are the origin of the petrichor technology, that they are independent of SIDs. They do not use SIDs and slur brine at all.
Oh, yeah, that didn't... Yeah. I didn't tweak onto that. Yeah.
That's what got me a little, because we haven't really talked about it. And so my
how can we change it? How can we...
The only change I'd make was just that state ships are a size again larger. Like, they are truly massive, and they don't really commonly use the thalassurge. Like, they will spend the months to go between, but they can, I don't know, let's work that out later. But
you know what, we can actually probably use this, do this now, because right, there's a size limit between... Okay, if it doesn't go to the... If it doesn't use the thalassurge, then I can simply delete the thing that says it is the common technical designation for state ship-sized craft.
Yeah,
that's
like I said, it was just a tweak.
Oh yeah, that works.
Yeah, because otherwise I really like that, and it's a much more evocative term. Could you say it again for me?
The Hadopelus.
The Hadopelus. Much more evocative than simply cruiser. It's the one I was least happy with. So when you said that you wanted to change the name for one of my things, I was mentally going, please be cruiser. It's the one I didn't like.
It could be cruiser. Yeah, because initially I didn't know that like you were going to go with ship types, which yeah. So I just had one ship type. So that's sort of yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Hadopeli would be, I presume, the Greek.
Or Hadopeloi?
Hadopeloi?
Yeah, I think Hadopeloi.
Hadopeloi. Love it. Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Yes, the bigger ships, which are the ones that carry lots of other little ships.
Yeah.
And yes, primarily move through. And I like the idea that they are weird shapes.
They're weird shapes, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's very cool. All right.
What's your next bit?
My next bit is some expansion on the Parliament of Pirates.
Ooh, I love this.
So the Parliament of Pirates makes and enforces rules, though in truth it does more enforcing than making, as not wanting to be restricted by laws overmuch is a rather fundamental thing to being a pirate. As is breaking the rules. Much of the enforcement is around conflict between captains and admirals and the avoidance of the simple taxation the Parliament requires to ensure the facilities of Morana's blessing are maintained. All captains are part of the Parliament, and entry requires another pirate captain to vouch for the newcomer and a sizable and ever-changing amount of money or goods as a buy-in. Membership allows one a voice, although that's more often a shout, in the Parliament, and access to the facilities of Morana's blessing. It also comes with the dubious legal protection of the Parliament from crimes committed by fellow members, and a rather fancy medallion with the Pirate Mark upon it. That is Marque, not Pirate's Mark. Okay. It is traditional to have one's own symbol engraved on the reverse of your medallion. The requirement to have another captain vouch for one has been waived in the past for those who have become famous for some act of piratical derring-do, which mostly involves the acquisition of vast wealth or the destruction of some particularly plaguesome pirate hunter. Since most captains spend the bulk of their time seeking plunder, they leave their authority to speak within the Parliament with a trusted person by leaving their physical pirate's mark with them. Some folk have even become so trusted or effective in Parliament that they hold multiple marks at once with all the votes that they bring, becoming real power players in the Parliament and the driving force behind the increasingly factional politics.
That's great. I really like that. That gives me some cool ideas for what to do in a game.
Yeah. And it means that each pirate crew gets their own symbol. I mean, nobody's waving flags at the top of their vessels of the deep, given that
that's right.
Not many people are going to see it. But so you still have your symbols. They're just on your mark.
Yeah, I think that works really well. Yeah. And I think we could design some pretty cool ones there. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Cool. Yeah. That's all I have.
I only have one bit. This is sort of an expansion from something you mentioned in the Elements of Outlier Society.
Oh, yes.
So it's about the Outlier Limits magazine.
Cool. Yes.
So the popular pulp magazine, The Outlier Limits, is not just a publication dedicated to fictional short stories of adventure and horror, though that's what pays the bills, but a journal dedicated to the pursuit of truth and science. Started around 80 years before the current year by Belky Morps and Bernadette Skeel, former researchers at the Outlier Station Diabolique, its initial run was full of their controversial and immediately debunked theories about the true nature of the stations. They spoke of insidious aliens hiding in the thalassurge from threats humanity has not yet even recognized. Most of it was covered in scientific jargon no one well understood, and to stave off their inevitable bankruptcy, they opened the publication to short stories. Very quickly, the magazine became known for its wild and wonderful narratives about brave marinauts fighting aliens on faraway moons, and Outlier Station monsters bursting through the eye sockets of fearless but also easily killed citizens of the deep. Buried in the back of each issue, even now, is a section titled Reader Beware. This is usually a piece about the crazy theories Morps and Skeel promoted with enough ambiguity as to not get flagged by any of the censorship bureaus in the places Outlier Limits is published. The articles are perhaps too ambiguous, as in the modern era, almost no one takes them as anything other than uninteresting and convoluted short fiction, much to the disappointment of Bernadette Skeel, who has outlived her partner and still runs the magazine from the cramped offices of the great publishing house of Eelingtons on Montaran.
Perfect. I love it. It's brilliant.
I wanted to add just a little bit, because I know that a lot of like sci-fi magazines in the real world have dealt and do occasionally deal with real science and stuff like that. And the idea of two crackpots starting a magazine like that and then immediately finding out, no one's
this goes poorly.
This is going poorly. No one's going to buy this. And then still trying to get their crackpot theories out. Now, are they crackpot theories? We can explore that later. But just putting in just a little bit of interest, I needed something like that here. But as to your initial... I will talk about this in the next section, actually.
Okay. I don't have any changes to that. I think it's brilliant and lovely.
Okay. Well, fantastic. Well, perhaps let's go to the next section.
Yeah. Shall we jump to conclusions? Jump straight to it?
Let's jump to conclusions.
Jumping to conclusions.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Oh, we both made different noises. We should have synchronized our noises that we make for this section.
Well, I mean, we can go back in and, like digitally, auditorily. No, let's not bother.
Let's not do it. I'm going to start just by saying that I really quite appreciated your Vessels of the Celestial Deep contribution here. I think the setting really needed that because, it's how we get around. Maybe we should have put it in episode 1, but that was more of it was finding our feet still with this one. I think the elements of Outlier Society I love because this sparked my imagination a lot, but maybe for a later episode. I think most of that there's like so much scope there that I'm just like I want to do something with this, but not in the limited time that we have here right now.
Yeah. When I was writing it and leaving the gap open for you, I was hoping you'd do that in another episode, not in World War Words, unless you were absolutely flipping hit with the iron hot idea and just, ripped out 500 words of perfection or something.
Look, I do have some ideas floating around in my head, but I think I need some time to sort of set them down. It might be in the next episode, it might be in the episode after, or a whole different episode.
I do have one request of you in regards to this, though. Do you think you could write it up in the manner of the same teacher telling his students?
Yes.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
I just think it'd be kind of fun to keep it in that style and put it into the final PDF that way.
Yeah, I love that. Okay.
All right. Fun challenge for you.
If I somehow don't do it, no, I will do it because I'm going to edit this episode. So.
One of the things I really liked, in the same way that Vessels was sort of needed for our watery society, so were pirates. They were so utterly necessary.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I think something between us, we have given some sort of shape to what sort of starting options a Blades in the Dark-esque group might have.
Lloyds in the Dork.
Yeah, Blades in the Deep.
Blades in the deep.
Actually, God, that really works.
God damn it. Yeah, that does work. Yeah, I like that a lot.
You can have freighter crews, you can have pirate crews, you could have seeker crews with, for military sorts. Those are just the top of my head. I do think some sort of explorer crew is sort of the other sort of one that leaps out at me.
I think it'd be fun to do a Star Trek actually 5-year mission. Can we find a solution? Why are things so funky?
To seek out new seas and new ant civilizations.
Oh no. Do you think it might be in 40K? I don't know if this is still true, but they're still receiving transmissions from the earliest craft sent out from Earth, and it's all just orcs.
It's funny you say that, because one of the things that I did not finish for today, because I put it aside, but I've got a whole bunch of notes for, is how transmissions in the Celestial Deep are going to work.
Oh, that's fantastic, because I have and will not have anything for that. Because that's too close to science.
I probably shouldn't have said anything like that, but yeah, okay, I already have now. So
now I will. It's lasers.
It's lasers. It's always lasers.
It's always lasers. I don't know. Well, sound travels through the water, so I assume it's got something to do with that. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Oh, the ants. I'm really delighted to have a non-human playable character type, and I kind of really think the player type where you wear a hive of your equipment is really neat. I love the sort of built-in bad guys of these floating colonies of angry attack everything ants that take over your ship's engine and then drive it off somewhere to kill other ants is fantastic and horrifying. There's definitely fun stories where you've got to prevent an infestation or go on to an infested ship and clear it out to do a thing. Lots of fun there.
All right.
Yeah, all right. I think we're starting to populate our ocean now.
Yeah.
I have not given much thought to them, but I came up with a whole bunch of neat, celestial deep beast description names, but not
sperm whale.
Yep.
But it's a sperm. No, whale sperm. Yes, it's just a very big sperm.
That would definitely be a concern.
Yeah. Oh, so that was another thing I was going to praise you for. Well done, because you did mention quite a few marine species there. So now it does feel a lot more like this is a lush living place rather than a barren kind of weird, I guess, a lot more alive than real space.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's, it's not a vacuum for a start, which helps.
Vacuum, yeah. I'd also like to talk at some point about how light works in this setting, because this is something that's I'm having a little bit of trouble visualizing, and I think we should, or one of us should talk about it, or something like that.
The other thing to talk about is pressure, and I've got some thoughts about that too. I
have zero thoughts about pressure. I don't know how that works in the real world. So.
Oh well, no. There's a really great educational song called "Under Pressure." If you,
I will listen to it. Yeah,
cool, good.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
We've done it. Episode 2.
Done it, except for one thing, Aaron.
Oh yes,
myth information. It's time for myth information.
Myth information.
I don't think they should make the Pokemon that look sexy, because I think a Pokemon should be sexy on its own terms, not on human terms. Like when they made that Gothita or whatever, like that sexy goth Pokemon.
Yes.
I don't think that's right. I think you should look at something like a Geodude and go, wow, with its strong muscular arms, that thing could hold me, and that's what sexy is.
You're allowed to feel that way, my friend. You are allowed. And I have my 3 those things.
They are myth information.
Myth informations, yes.
Myth informations. Who is going first? I don't remember who went first last time.
Well, I think
I probably did. So
yeah. So I think it's my turn to go first.
Yeah, so it's your turn. Okay.
All right. So here are my 3 very recently created myth informations.
That's very good. Now, myth information, just for our listeners out there, is basically 2 lies, 1 truth. And the opponent, or co-host, if you will, although I like to think of us in adversarial terms, chooses which one is the truth that exists, that is a reality for our world.
Yes. Okay. All right, then, my nemesis.
Yes.
Here is fact number 1. Opal Jing is left alone by the Parliament of Pirates because she knows how to cause Morana's blessing to implode. Fact 2. The Outlier Limits magazine and its creators have both been marginalized and supported in its new form by the machinations of multiple Leviathans. Fact 3. A core world has just made an ant as its leader, which is the truth.
Oh my god.
Which ones are just myth takes?
Holy shit. Okay. I think the first one is a lie because it's a little too convenient. I really like both the second and the third one, but I am in a ridiculous mood, so it's going to be number 3. And I think we can talk about that later. And you've just given me some great ideas. Yeah, a core world has made an ant its leader. Okay, that is
Cool.
that is the truth.
All right, that is now fact. That is now the truth.
That is now fact.
In the Celestial Deep.
I do like that you made them all related to the things we talked about, but I did not.
Well, no,
at
because
all.
you couldn't possibly do that because you wrote them before the episode like a sensible and prepared human.
Okay, so I want you to listen to my myth information
All
right
right.
now, okay? And you decide. Okay, the first one is moustaches are banned on Mantarum due to an ancient dictate from their Leviathan patron. Number 2, the most popular sport among the outer treaty worlds is water billiards and regional spin-offs such as wet bowls and soaking snooks.
Okay, yes.
And number 3, although magic does not exist in the Celestial Deep, more than 70% of people across the system believe that it does.
Well, I think the moustache one is amusing and puts me in the mind of David Eddings' series. They come across Ishan, who's a sort of mad cult leader, and he's at that point saying things like flies are sacred, you've got to leave them alive, and they live in a desert soul setting. But I don't think it impacts enough, so I'm going to make that one a lie. I just don't think it's impactful enough. I like it touches on some of the things that we did in Haliacon. We talked about, pop culture and sports and other bits and pieces. And you some sleazy snooks or something.
It's water billiards, but
Yes.
it's got regional spin-offs such as wet bowls and
Did like
soaking
that.
snooks.
Soaking Sooks was
Snooks.
Snooks. Yep.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Okay.
I really do.
Aaron-
That's
Aaron likes wet bowls.
no, it's
Soaking-
definitely not that one. Soaking Snooks is just. I just think that sounds brilliant. But I am going to go with the fact that 70% of the system believes that magic exists. I think this makes sense in a universe of Leviathans and data ballads and yes, ants that talk and other bits and pieces, and of course the outlier stations and their miraculous materials, that most people ascribe one or more of these things to supernatural origin.
Okay, and it reflects the real world. Most
To a horrifying
Americans
degree.
believe in angels, which is crazy. And did you know? I don't know if you knew this. Okay, so this came as a surprise to me. But religions exist?
Well, you're in for a rough time as you look further into that.
Yeah, I've never looked into this. I thought all those like really nice looking buildings were just like for Funko Pops or something.
No, they're way nicer than Funko Pops, man. They've got some serious style to them.
Well, yeah, but I thought that's where they store or make the Funko Pops.
Ah, right. I see. That's where the class comes
Because there's that one Funko Pop that I always see of the guy doing a T-pose, and like he looks different from the other Funko Pops that you can buy at the store.
Right. Maybe because it's not a Funko Pop. I don't know. But do you know what the best thing about cathedrals are? Is you can point to an item of the architecture and, in all honesty, and in public, say, "Look, the flying buttresses."
That's funny.
Yes,
Cool, relatable architecture humor.
it is.
Yeah, because it's got the word butt in it.
Flying butts, no less.
Flying butts, yeah.
Yeah.
I like how they're flying. Okay, well, we've done it.
We have.
We've done another episode of Mythtakes Happen.
We have.
Season 2. Episode 2, Season 2.
And we managed to insult half of the United States.
I mean, their existence is an insult to reality, isn't it? I'm leaving that one in.
Okay.
Hey, Americans, if you listen to this podcast, I think you as individuals are fine. But like your country, Jesus Christ, why is it on fire?
Ugh, yes. We record
Anyway,
this in November, so if by the time this comes out there isn't the United States, we apologize.
Yeah. Maybe it's like called like the Disunited States now.
Oh,
that's very
edgy.
cool. Cool
Very
branding.
edgy.
That's very
Yeah.
90s comic book branding. Anyway, I just want to thank everyone for listening. Please look in the episode descriptions for any pertinent information. I think we're still putting tags and trigger warnings there.
Also putting a link to the PDF. Please read them. I put a bit of effort into them.
Aaron basically runs himself ragged in making these things, and if you're not reading this, oh God. He will have wasted even more of his life than he already has.
It's true.
And please, if you need a GM in Adelaide, or if you are willing to fly Aaron to an undisclosed location,
I'd prefer if you
anywhere in the
disclosed
world,
it.
yeah, but for enough money, he'll do anything.
Yes, that is, well, GM related.
Sure. He'll do it. It's a real job, and he's pretty good at it, I think. People literally pay him money for it, and that's amazing.
And if you're looking for a teacher in Melbourne...
Yeah, don't look for me. I'm not doing a good job. People, the state pays me to keep some children alive.
And so far, you've been entirely successful.
As anyone knows. Goodbye!
Bye!